She said back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
when she was growing up, they used to wouldn't even show a pregnant woman on TV.
Yeah, none of
Now
that
they
is
show
done.
how she got that
Wow.
way. And little kids are sitting there looking when Victoria's Secret girls are
Mm-hmm.
advertising
Mm-hmm.
their
You're right.
negligees.
You're right.
Yeah.
You see? And so they get it. They
Mm.
get it. They can Google it. Ask Google, you know.
Wow.
So, you know, it's so prevalent. And so we must tell them
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them and guide them properly.
That's right.
This is what you see. This is what happens. This is the consequence.
So what
Yeah, show
age?
them
What
pictures.
age you think is
There's
best
no
for
age.
us to?
When they start
Okay.
walking, be like, look, sit down, come here, let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
something. Let me show you these pictures. When they start nodding, yeah, and like, do
Wow.
you
I
want
know.
this?
You know, I
and
think.
and I tell them,
Because that's smart, I'm telling you.
and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this it's kind of crazy and funny, but it happened. I sat with a bunch of kids at the playground over, you know, at this apartment complex, and I was talking to them about protection, how to protect themselves, you know, because since they all admitted that they were sexually active, and I said use protection, and the little girl said it's like taking a shower with a raincoat on. All
Right.
right. And then the little boy, 8 years old, said, it's like sliding into home base with a helmet on. You see what I'm saying? In other
I'm
words,
sorry.
they were not using protection
Oh, they learned that from their
and
mama.
didn't, yeah. And the environment that they lived in, the environment, I'm sorry, is matriarchal centered.
Wow.
Woman, 7 children,
Mm.
and probably not the daddy is sitting outside, sorry, selling drugs. So that's basically the atmosphere that they're growing up in.
Wow.
And, you know, and so that's just, you know, we really have to work hard. We
We do.
say the harvest is much, but the laborers are
And
few.
laborers are few.
And we have got to zoom in on our, and not just stay hush hush. And a lot of us in the churches, you know, holier than thou, and not talking to these children about reality. You know, they just want us to keep the dime,
Yeah.
hold the dime between our legs, but it ain't happening. You're gonna drop the dime and you ain't gonna pick it up. Sorry.
Right. That's too funny. So you're saying they're gonna drop that dime
And they,
and they're not gonna pick it up.
they might go buy a Don later or something.
Yeah. Oh,
Or save it to get another 15 cents to go buy a
another
flip.
50 cent. Oh my goodness.
But they ain't gonna pick it
So
up.
should we be honest with our children though and tell them that sex is enjoyable?
Yes, but there's a
Yeah.
time. There's a
That's
time
time
that
Yeah.
it, you know, when you're married, once you are married, then it's safer. And you're also monogamous, you know, hopefully, and you won't have several sex partners, and you have a less chance, you know.
Gotta
Thank-
protect you.
But
Yeah.
but how
Of-
do
of
you
getting
really? You see, what's so challenging about today is like, and family, of course, thank all of you for tuning back in. We want you to go ahead and share this live video right now. Please do share it. Want you to share it. Thank you for getting connected. Wish I knew those of you that was getting connected
That's right,
right
that's
now.
later.
But anyway, the thing is this is that in our society where there is so much peer pressure among our children, how do we really help them to escape that as parents? Because I'm just saying, yeah, we do a lot of talk, and even as a child, a matter of fact, I as a child, 6, 7, 5, growing up, I don't really remember my mom actually, talking to me about sex or anything of that sort, And I'll be honest with you, as a father now, I got a 14-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old son, or 11, I don't know his age. I gotta learn, I gotta ask my wife again. But, or ask them. But I have not really sat down and had to talk.
It's hard for me.
For the first time, I gave my daughter her first driving lesson on Sunday. And I'm like, wow, she's getting a lot older. She was driving.
Oh.
You get what I'm trying to say? And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is really, I'm still trying to figure out how to approach it.
There's no special way
Because
to approach it.
my wife says to me, she heard my son over talking, and his friend, I might not say it exactly how she said it, but close as possible. And she says that she heard him talking to his friend, rather on the phone or talking to his friend somewhere, and his friend was talking to him about his girlfriend or something of that sort. And so he wanted advice from my son, which is only 10, 11. I don't know.
Lord.
How old is he?
11.
11? Okay. And, okay, that's not for live, that's personal. First lady's in the house, she's like, nah, get it.
Get it, first lady.
But it happens so that he says to his friend, just kiss her and make up.
Loud.
So that's his solution to making up with the girlfriend.
I'm like, what? Really? How is your mind working
In that
way at this time of your life?
But with these
What do
kids
you
nowadays,
know
I'm
about
telling
kissing
you,
makeup?
you will be surprised. They
And
know
so-
more than us.
Oh my goodness.
But they
know
watch
so
TV shows.
Right.
Yes,
and
of
they know more
course.
than us.
So it's
More than us.
really like, oh my
tough.
Lord, how do we really get this message to our children? Or do we just really have to pray hard, fast hard, and say, Lord, just let people just fall, that mean them no good, let them just fall from
Well,
their life. They can't even hang around, they can't even stick around.
I think you have to pray, but it's like something you really can't stop, because once they feel that itch, it just be like a itch that is there. But helping them with the necessary steps, like, hey, I know you may be going through this or whatever, but let me just help you out a little bit, because sometimes if they see that you're helping, then it might push them back when they see like, hey, they're not trying to stop me from exploring. But when you try to stop that child, it's just like the itch just get even worse, and they just go full force. So I think like to really sit down and talk with the child. We know we can't stop you, because it's not like you're going to be there 24/7. They're doing it in the schools and parks, all types of stuff. So you're not going to be there 24/7. But you just be like, hey, let me help you out. And it's crazy that you have to really go through that with your child, but it can be worse.
But we just got to be real.
So let me ask
Gotta be
you a
real.
question, right?
Yeah.
Because my dear sister Kat, it threw something on my days, like that was your days, and your days was like
Yeah, his days.
so long ago.
Mine are even further.
So
I'm older.
My question
His days. We're talking about his days.
in your days, referring to your childhood time, what was that world to you at that time? Like, what information was you getting? What was that? Like how I said, the information was us children in the neighborhood experiencing. But what information, what came to you, like, around, that young age? I don't want to say 13, because 13 is really crossing it, but even back some.
Well, we won't get into it right now, but the Lord has blessed me to be able to talk about what happened to me as a young girl. I happen to have been raped at the age of 11.
At 11?
Yes.
Jesus. And that was your first experience?
That was my first experience. And that, Sister Gat, I didn't listen to your whole testimony.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you, but
Yes.
But before that rape at 11, was there talk with you and your friends about what sex might be like?
No.
So there was no conversation, no imagination of what sex would be like. What about boyfriend, having a boyfriend? Was there any thought, again, coming up from, so nothing. So you're really just pure off this world
Yes.
of what it means to, not even a thought, no, you're just pure, this is just me going through until I know what life brings.
Yes.
Wow. So go ahead and
And
bring
anyway,
something down.
but I had a happy childhood. I grew up on a farm. My dad was a mechanic and a farmer, and he could do everything. And thank God he's still alive. He's
Hallelujah.
92,
Wow.
92
He's
years
blessed.
old,
Blessed.
and I'm really blessed
Yes.
for him to have been in, for him to have been my dad. And I think I'm a lot like him. And I have a brother
Yeah.
named Junior, but they said I'm so much like him. I should have been a junior.
Hey.
But I just thank
Wow.
God for him. So because of his, the way he raised us, 8 children, and everything, the way he raised us, my mom was a housewife, and he was the farmer, the mechanic. He could do anything, I tell you. And so it was just happy times. It was happy times, and I was a reader, and I read, and I escaped. I experienced the world through reading. I enjoyed reading, and I was back then. I always was like, and then I became like a poetic type. I've written a lot of poetry, and I'm in the process of getting my book published now. But that's a little ad there. So save your $20.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
But and there were pitfalls. There were pitfalls. But I always remember just being a happy child, and we were rural. Being rural, we were not what you call the inner city ghetto, like inner city ghetto kid. We were more. We were reared in an agricultural, because of the farming and everything, arena. We were reared that way, and we didn't go to the jukes. We went to church and back home and worked. And and whereas a couple of kids in my class, they were allowed to go to the juk, dance, that kind of thing.
They called it juk back then.
Juk, yeah, the juk. Yeah. The juk. What do they call it now? The club?
Okay, call it the club. Okay,
Okay, the juk.
Back then was the juk.
That's
That's
it.
the juk, everybody.
But I always was curious about it when I went
what it might be like.
Yeah, when I went to college. Oh yeah, the Columbos, hole in the wall. Who'd have thought it was a club? All of those. 007 Club, and I experienced that dancing out there, and it was enjoyable. I loved it. I loved the juk. But now but I tasted a little bit of this, like a little bit of wine,
Okay, but
whatever. But I don't drink. I don't smoke. And
Okay.
again, I think my parents,
So,
they didn't drink and smoke.
Okay.
So all of their children followed that same suit.
Yes. So
Good.
what I want to know, because I know it had to be very challenging. You were 11. Was it a family member? Was it somebody you knew, or was just something that just some stranger
No, it was no stranger. As a matter of fact, he was like a big brother that my dad,
raised?
he didn't raise him. The elderly people down the street from us had kind of adopted him from a cousin, one of who had a lot of children. And they kind of adopted him. And he was a hard worker. He was a nice young man.
So how old was he at the time when you were 11?
20,
He was 20 and
Yes.
you were 11.
11.
Wow. And so this rape took place was it in the woods?
Everybody, well, no. Everybody was picking cotton. And it was my turn to
pick?
to cook dinner, lunch.
Oh, okay.
So I had to
I
stand
was
on.
young. I be trying to get my wife to teach
So
my
I was
daughter how to
home.
cook.
I came, and the field was
So-
maybe a mile away.
You didn't get that. At 11, you knew how to cook. Look at that. Goodness gracious.
Telling
Hallelujah.
you, look,
I tell you, I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna talk about that.
Okay, but but ultimately, as we grew older,
Yeah,
he was still in the community,
yeah.
and he asked me. I recall going home. I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe. He asked me to forgive him. He remembered, and I said, "I forgive you." And he, actually, this was like a Saturday. He passed away that Wednesday
Jesus.
Jesus.
with cancer.
Wow.
So I think he knew, and he wanted to clean up what he had done, and he
I
really was
understand.
sorry.
So what really happened is that here, your 11-year-old girl, he's 20. He forced himself on you, or what was it?
Yes. Yes.
So you literally, so
So it was molestation.
yeah,
I wasn't agreeing with it,
right,
and I was trying to get away.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
That's right.
Wow, wow. And so when that happened, so he only did that one time to you.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes.
And did you tell your parents at the time?
That was that was interesting. He said if I told my parents, he said that my dad would kill him and my dad would go to prison. That was the reason in my little heart I didn't reveal.
Gosh.
And naturally it was vicious and the bloody sheets and everything. I was a yard raker. I
Right.
happened to be the person that raked the yards and around the door, the front yard and the barnyard. So I just took all the
The stuff.
and burned it,
Oh, okay.
piled up leaves, burned it, and got rid of the evidence.
Oh, my
And
God.
and I was a yard raker, so it washed. Now, 8 years later, when I told my brother, he wanted to go, he grabbed a shotgun to go kill him. So you think how much bloodbath it would have been had I told at that time. This was 8 years later when I
Wow.
told.
Wow.
That's serious.
And what did that, do to you at the time? Like, how did you feel towards men at the time? What was that experience really was like for you?
It was traumatic, but I hid it, and it kind of like went away. It didn't affect me, my growing up and being happy.
Okay.
It did not, because I felt that I had saved my dad from going to prison, so it was a great thing that I didn't tell. But as far as it didn't, I was very sexually active,
Yeah.
as a older young lady
So did you
in college.
do you think that made the way for that?
That's
Open the
interesting.
doors.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I really thought of that at one time as to why I was sexually active, but it could have been associated mentally, subconsciously.
Wow.
But I always had a boyfriend. Okay, I always had a boyfriend, so it was just it wasn't like I was roaming around everywhere. I was just with that one person, But we had.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Wow, wow, wow. But wow. I mean, so many people that happen to that it literally takes their mind into a complete different direction.
Yes.
And but it's just something that happened to so many women.
It did.
It does.
You would be surprised
To so many
as to
women.
how many it
I
happened to.
was
Yes.
listening. We running up on time, but I was, we gotta talk separate, woman of God, but I was listening to a documentary of a woman that was an activist at the time when there was, like a lot of civil rights fights and riots, maybe back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, somewhere around there. Anyway, and this was the days of the Black Panther, actually, when the Black Panther really started having a Black Panther movement.
Right.
Yes.
And she was sharing her story how she would run for the Black Panther. But I say run, like she would be that activist voice, and she was very strong. And she believed in the cause, and she believed in, you know, this what they're doing and standing up for black people and all of this, all of that. She said that she went to a party, you know, because they would have the Black Panther party. And she stated that she respect the leaders, or there was a leader, you know, at the time for that particular, you know, and she said, you know, she respect the leader, really look up to him, and said at this particular party, that leader just literally just grab her and just rape her, and she said that she asked him why. She says, why? Just tell me why. And she said that to him, it was like no remorse. And she just felt like in that moment, everything that she stand for, everything that she believed for, it just flashed right before her eyes. And you know, back in those days, it was very tough. And to believe in a cause back then, it was a big deal. But to have the leader to literally do that to you and show no remorse, and you are one of his strongest activists.
Yes.
And you know, she said she just couldn't. She had to ask him why. Just tell me. And you know, she said he just brushed her off. And so what I'm saying is that, you know, this thing that's called rape, you know, it is so dark, and it's no respect of person.
No respect of
It
person.
doesn't matter how much you think this person is a family to you, a dad to you, an uncle to you, a brother to you, a close friend to you. It don't respect anybody at all. You understand? It doesn't. The fact of that, if you're a woman, this spirit, this thing that's called rape, just no respect to a
From
person.
generations to generations.
It don't care.
To
It don't
generations.
care.
It don't care. So you can't be thinking that, oh, this won't happen.
That's right.
You understand? You just can't think that. You know, and I think that's what happened. A lot of people let their guard down and believing that this won't happen. It won't. It won't take place. And every time I hear a rape story like that, I realize that, hold on, this thing don't care who you are.
It doesn't.
You
it
know,
just won't
when that
take
spirit
everything.
when that spirit comes upon a person, overtake that person to do something very, very evil, they're going to do it. And I think, you know, we read that in the Bible concerning Jacob's sons and,
Yes.
you know, their sister and what happened.
yes.
And, you know, what was the name?
happened,
Tamar.
happened.
Tamar
yeah.
and Jacob's son. Yes.
And it just show you. It just show you how vile it is.
May I ask,
happening.
in that situation with Tamar and Absalom, him, that's the son. He
Well,
was
actually,
not.
that's the other one, but there was another event
Yeah,
with Jacob's
yeah,
sons.
and come to find
several,
out.
Several times it happened in Scripture. Wow.
Yeah, come to find out, that hurt her so badly because he had built her up and said, "Oh, you're so beautiful.
Yes,
You're
yes,
so beautiful."
yes,
You know, and just made her feel good that he admired her beauty, but he was only going for one thing. You know, so this is what I want to say to the
Wow.
young people. You know, be careful because.
Yes.
Those kind words, you know, all that sweetness and oh
what
baby,
that
you bad, you all of that, you know, don't buy it
Do
because
not
they're
buy
after
it.
9 times out of 10 they're after
Wow.
one thing.
Do not buy it.
Don't
Wow.
buy it. Don't buy it.
Run
But
if you
I
can.
understand. I was going to say about Tamar and him. I can't think of his name right now. That was her. That was not her blood brother.
What-
They had a
Yeah,
different.
same father, just different mother.
That's what it was.
And,
That's right. Same father.
yeah.
Yeah, but different mothers.
And they love each other. You know, and he loved her,
Yes.
but he loved her to the point where he got to have her, no matter what.
Right.
Can you imagine being under the same roof with a person that they're not even seeing you as their sister? And that happened a lot,
Yes, it does.
you know?
It does.
And-
And how he treated her. He treated her so brutally after it happened.
After it
You
happened.
know, you know,
Yeah.
he just treated her so brutally and
Yeah.
told her she was disgraceful and all of that.
because that spirit of lust,
Yeah.
for her,
It's a,
yeah, and it just produced that death. It's really sad, though. It's really
Yes.
sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, family, we wanna thank you for tuning in. We done
yes.
already extended, went over
Like,
our time, but Sister Cat, anything you want to say to piggyback on this?
I just want to say you do want to, pay close attention
Mm-hmm.
to your kids and, watch their every movement.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes girls don't act out just to like be acting out. Sometimes they don't want to, wear a certain type of clothes just to wear those certain
Mm-hmm.
type of clothes. So you have to really look out for those things. And you also have to be careful with who you allow,
Around your
around
children.
your children, because just because he says he's your brother or your cousin or your uncle, whoever, does not mean that a spirit won't use him. Especially if his heart is not right with God and stuff like that. Then you're easily exposed to being used. So just because things like that happen, you really have to watch who you have around your kids, because that would stop a lot of molestations and a lot of rapes from happening, because we get too comfortable with people in our circle, in our space, and it's just like we kind of look over certain situations. So I hope today's message really touches somebody out there, just to pay more attention to your surroundings and to your children. And even with the vaping and all that other stuff, pay close attention, because this stuff is like killing our
It's real.
children.
Jesus.
Yes,
It is.
yes, it is.
Jesus. Wow.
Yes, it is. We have a
Wow.
lot of work to do, and
It's-
we
yeah.
just got to protect them,
Yeah.
Right.
We just have to keep them close to us,
Wow.
and
Wow.
talk to them.
I feel like we accomplished something in this War Table Talk.
Right.
I really feel like God is using this as a tool, as a platform to really help to educate and empower the life of the believers to receive. And I think you surprised me, because I didn't think you were gonna really come this bold. Like sometimes people come on the show and we try to hold back some, but it's real talk.
It's real talk.
She
It's
jumped
real
back
talk,
like,
and I
"Look."
think that's what's missing.
Yes.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah. Really talk about it.
yeah.
Get to the bottom of it. And
Yeah, can we do that? Can
Yeah.
we uproot this situation, because it does exist, and
Yes,
it's
it
still an
does.
issue.
Still an issue.
Somebody would say, "Well, that was way back in my grandmom's day and cousin Larry day and all that stuff." No, it's still an issue today.
It's an issue today.
We're dealing with the
Something we
same,
swept
with
under
the
the
same
rug.
demons.
That's right.
same
These-
demons,
these-
and they're
these-
getting bigger,
they-
more,
and bolder,
greater,
and
bolder,
bolder.
bigger
Yeah.
and bolder,
bolder. You understand?
attacking the little young
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, so
Right in
it's
front of
it's
you.
it's it's really something
Yeah.
that needs to be talked about.
It is,
We be
it
watching
is.
the news and watch all the wars, and hear, man, there's so much war that's going on in the life of our children,
Oh my
right
God.
beneath our roof.
Yes.
You get what I'm trying to say? That's the greatest battle right there, your house. You
Yes,
know?
yes.
So, woman of God, I really thank you.
You're welcome.
Just for gracing us, and I appreciate this talk. We appreciate this
Yes,
talk.
you're
This
welcome.
is,
You're
this is really a
welcome.
blessing. It
Yes,
certainly is.
yes.
It is.
And I just pray to the Lord that those of you who are watching, that you are really impacted by this, because we have this kind of War Table Talk. We have these kind of talks because we want you to get the message. God has
That's
given us
right.
an assignment, and we want y'all to get the message and to really tap into those things that God is preparing to do supernaturally.
Yes.
It is
And I'm
time.
excited about that.
Yes.
I really am. So, but we're done. As we always do. We always do like a count 1, 2, 3, then we just say War Table Talk.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. So,
Okay.
I want us to
part
do
of the
that
show.
together, part of the show. We love y'all. We're just going to say 1, 2, 3.
War Table Talk.
So, you got to tell me more about you, and hear what it is. You have, Kat, if your ride come, you could go. Girl, I just realized you were in a cat. I'm over here calling you.